Hi, it's John, and welcome to my channel EV Intuition, where I help you understand about electric vehicles. In today's video, we're going to talk about the question, is an electric vehicle environmentally friendly? That's a hot topic of debate in social media and news media today. And it's actually one of the more politically charged questions out there. So we're going to talk about that and answer that question for you today. So let's get into it. Before I get into the question of are electric vehicles environmentally friendly, I want to just make a couple points about the politics of electric vehicles. Sadly, today, politics sort of taints people's opinions on whether electric vehicles are good or bad, or right for you or not. Here on this channel, I try to be objective and cut through the politics. I see problems on both sides. On one side of the aisle, they're saying everybody should buy an electric vehicle or be riding electric vehicles. I think you should make that decision by yourself. I don't think the government should force you or tell you what to do. You make your decisions based on what you see is best for you. And then on the other side of the political aisle, they often just point out the bad or the downsides of electric vehicles without telling you the advantages of them. So I find that frustrating at times, but that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you understand the objective pros and cons of electric vehicles. What I'm going to do is talk about some of the opinions or statements made about electric vehicles as far as environmentally sound they are. And I've taken a couple things that I've read a lot about from the Environmental Protection Agency's website, EPA.gov. The first thing you'll see is a myth that is propagated a lot out there, and it is electric vehicles are worse for the climate than gasoline cars because of the power plant emissions. So the claim here is that everybody knows that electric vehicles have no tailpipe emissions. So we can't compare just the car and its emissions, where an electric vehicle clearly has less emissions than a gas vehicle because the electric vehicle has no tailpipe emissions. But the claim is that the electricity used to charge an electric car's battery is using elements such as coal or natural gas and producing emissions that are not friendly to the environment. But as it's stated there, the fact is electric vehicles typically have a small carbon footprint compared to the gasoline cars, even when accounting for electricity used in charging. I'll show you here the electric generation in the United States by major energy sources, and you can just see where things are today, and you can see there's a mixture of mainly coal, natural gas, nuclear, and renewables as the four main sources of electricity generation today. And you'll notice that if the claim is certainly that if you're using coal, there's emissions to the atmosphere that are not environmentally friendly. So that's what people are taking into account. But the bottom line is that overall, if you look at an electric vehicle, that's still not enough to make up for the gas emissions that an gas automobile makes in its lifetime. What I want to point out is the trend in electricity generation by source in the United States. And you'll notice that coal, which probably has the biggest harmful effects to the environment, is rapidly decreasing over the last several years. Natural gas has gone up. It has very little emissions. And then the other thing is there is a growing push to have more renewable energies making up the source for electricity. And if you break that down, you'll see that wind has become a bigger source for it. Hydroelectric has been pretty steady, and solar and biomass are mixed in there. So, but you can see that the trend is to push for more renewable energy sources and electricity, which is only going to make this even less of an issue as we go forward. Now, the second statement or myth that is propagated out there is that electric vehicles are worse for the climate than gas cars because of battery manufacturing. As you know, battery manufacturing involves the use of certain metals in putting them together into a battery. Studies have shown that if you look at it, the amount of energy putting those batteries together does not make up for the pollutants that gas vehicles put into the atmosphere. So we can go in to summarize in this one chart, which shows the life cycle greenhouse gas emissions for a gas vehicle versus an electric vehicle. And you can see how the gas vehicle is much larger in the total amount of emissions that it makes. You can see in that chart that the blue bar represents emissions associated with the battery. The orange bar encompasses the rest of vehicle manufacturing, which includes extracting materials, assembling parts, and vehicle assembly, and even the end-of-life recycling and disposal. The gray bars represent upstream emissions associated with producing gasoline or electricity, and the yellow bar shows tailpipe emissions during vehicle operations. And you can see how that yellow bar of the tailpipe emissions of a gas vehicle, how much it dominates the life cycle greenhouse gas emissions when making that comparison. From this, you can conclude that the electric vehicle is much more environmentally friendly. Now, one other area that when I give talks on electric vehicles, I get a question about is about the disposal of electric vehicle batteries. What happens to them? And is that an environmental concern? Well, just to let you know, when the electric vehicle battery hits about 70% of its original capacity, it's considered towards the end of life. And in fact, that's what warranties on electric vehicles are typically to 70%. If your vehicle falls below 70%, then it is considered now that the battery has kind of fallen below its usable format or its usable capacity. And so, but keeping in mind the size of electric vehicle batteries, even 70% of that original capacity could be anywhere from 20 to 90 kilowatt hours of energy stored. With that amount of capacity, that battery can be reused. That amount of energy can power a house for about 3 days. It also can run other electric equipment. So one of the repurposes of electric vehicle batteries is that it gets reused. The most common use of disposed electric vehicle batteries is that they get recycled. They get dismantled, separated, the various metals get refined, and then resold. And essentially, many of those materials could end up in brand new batteries. So I wanted to put at rest that electric vehicle batteries are not going to find their way into waste dumps and just be discarded. There's too much valuable material there that is worth a fair amount of money, and so vehicle manufacturers take care that those are either going to be reused or recycled. So to summarize, I'm showing you this slide which gives you several quotes from various articles that came to the same conclusion that I did, in that electric vehicles are more environmentally friendly than gas vehicles. Certainly the key facts that you need to know is that battery electric vehicles, which are fully electric vehicles, do not emit any carbon emissions into the atmosphere. They require no yearly oil and oil filter changes, which typically sometimes get dumped into the environment. The electricity that is delivered to your house goes over electric lines and not in tanker trucks like gas stations have their gas delivered to them, which those tanker trucks emit fumes into the atmosphere. So besides those facts, other research has looked at the data and come to the conclusion that the short answer is electric vehicles are more environmentally friendly. But they haven't realized their full potential. As we've shown you earlier, the electricity generation sources today are continuing to move in the direction of more renewable sources, which means less emissions, making it more environmentally friendly. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video today on answering the question of environmental friendliness of EVs. I will have more content as I continue my series on the advantages of owning an electric vehicle. I hope you tune in, subscribe to my channel so you'll be notified on future videos. Also, give me a like, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for watching.